Hey, what's up, Stringlings? I wanted to show you something a little extra special with some of these toys that I've got down here on the desktop, and we are going to absolutely make that happen for you. So you will recall not too very long ago, I reviewed all three of these pedals. The Tweed Junior from True North Audio, the Creamsicle from Mayfly, and the Sunrise Amp Sim from Mayfly. But today I want to give a little shout out to this guy, the Flip Flop from Get Wired Studios. Let's check it out. One of the big questions we kind of get when we're doing pedalboard layouts, when we're planning out our signal flow and all of that kind of thing is what goes in front of what? What sounds better in front of something else, right? Or does it sound better if I put this before or after? Well, the reality is you can play around and figure out whatever you want. The fact of the matter is there are ways that things tend to work. And then there are some things that are not carved in stone. I will say, as somebody who's been doing this for quite a long time, absolutely nothing is carved in stone. There are things that are generically going to sound better, and they just sound better. I don't like putting delay in front of distortion because distorting those echoes turns into a completely different effect. But you can hear it really effectively in things like Korn, for example. They would do this kind of thing, would distort the echoes, and it creates a different kind of a noisescape that might be really effective for what you're doing. Generally speaking, we put things with overdrive and distortion first, things with time-based effects like reverb and delay at the end. This is just kind of the way that things tend to work out sounding the best. But if you don't know, or if you've got two pedals that are from the same family as we have here, we have two overdrive pedals, and they're not related, they're not from the same brand. They don't really sound very much alike, although I guess we could get them to do that. You need some way to quickly rig them up and test them, right? As Josh Scott likes to say, it's okay to just try stuff. So what we're going to do today is actually try stuff. So the Flip Flop from Get Wired acts like a kind of a switcher. It does take a couple of extra cables because your guitar in and your guitar out bypass pretty much everything in the pedal. In the position it's in right now, you can probably see the green LED. That indicates that pedal 1 here, which goes from the send into here, from the output to the return, that's first. Pedal 2 goes from the send here to the input, from the out back up to the return. We can reverse the order of those pedals. So now the flip-flop is telling us that this one is actually first in the chain and this one is going second. So when we start in sort of our main direction, this is going to be the sound of the Tweed going into the Creamsicle before hitting the Sunrise as our amplifier. So let's wire this up. I'm going to get some headphones on so I can listen to it, and let's see if we can, play around a little bit, just try some different stuff. Okay, we are rigged up. I've got El Strato again, and we're just coming through the Sunrise amp with a tiny bit of reverb. Just sounds like a classic amp. Now, what happens when we turn on the Creamsicle, and I've got this set more or less at noon. It's on the fat side, and the sparkle is off. I'm actually going to turn the sparkle on, because why not? It's close to unity. Maybe a little bit more volume. Okay, so let's say that that's our round one. Now, what do we want to do if we're stacking overdrives? Well, we want to, of course, hit the front of the amp with a little bit more drive, but we want to hit the front of this overdrive with a little bit more drive, and we don't want everything to get buried, so let's take this drive all the way down. We're going to set the Tweed drive. So those almost sound the same, right? Oops. Okay, so let's say we're playing at a gig and we want to give it a little bit more heat. So we haven't created a massive amount of difference. Just a little bit. So we're going to sparkle this up a bit, boost it, and add more drive on the front. So that is with the tweed a little bit hotter going into the creamsicle, a little bit cooler. If we flip-flop them, we're going to reverse that order and see. Okay, so here is our main pedal now. Switch on the creamsicle. See, so now the creamsicle is in front of the tweed, and that means we can gain this guy up or down. Then it becomes a fluffy cut, right? So the idea here is even on the fly in a gig situation, you have the opportunity to decide, okay, you know what? For this song, I happen to like this setting with the tweed going into the creamsicle. And then later on, you might want to flip-flop them and say, you know what, my creamsicle is going to be the first one in order. And then it's going to drop into the tweed. See, it's a little bit more grindy now because we're boosting this signal and refiltering it with the tone control on here. Okay, so the idea is, oof, that's noisy. So the idea is, whatever your setup is, or if you're just experimenting with pedals, or you want to try some cool stuff with your, like with your rig, or you get some new stuff coming in, you can make the decision by kind of wiring and unwiring everything as you go, or you can grab yourself a flip-flop from Get Wired Studios, rig them up and just play with them back and forth and see, you know, which one triggering first or second is going to make all the difference for the sound that you're going for. It's a fairly straightforward setup. It works. It's obvious. It just says right here 1 into 2 or 2 into 1. And you know, you can do this with any family of pedals. The one place I wouldn't necessarily do it is with a stack of like high gain distortion pedals. Generally speaking, in most kind of rock and roll contexts, you want higher gain going into lower gains. The lower gain is there to boost the high gain pedal. The difference is in a metal situation, you typically want to have your overdrive in front of your distortion so that your overdrive can be used to tighten up the low end of your distortion pedal. That's kind of the way we structure those. But if you're ever uncertain, you can, instead of unplugging and replugging everything, grab a flip-flop, mess around with it, put it into your rig, and see what it sounds like. Yeah, and honestly, it's super handy because I use it all the time as I'm rigging boards and be like, okay, well, where do we actually want to put this thing? And if there's ever any question, this eliminates that question. But on a gig situation, like I said, you have the opportunity then to put something in front of something else and you can switch them up for different songs. So it just adds a little bit of extra utility to your pedal board that just kind of makes things, you know, more flexible. When you get that flexibility built in, you don't necessarily have to bring as much stuff, right? You can change things up on the board itself. So anyway, that's it for this little demo. Keep an eye out for this flip-flop. It's going to turn up a few more times in the future, I'm pretty sure. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and by all means consider signing up for the newsletter. Like I said, that's all there is for today, and I hope that you have an amazing day.